My creative process, I would say, comes secondary to the technical skill. I like to set up everything in a very starting position first to kind of get all bases covered with light. Second, from there, I'll kind of adapt towards it based off of what I'm getting already with my look. And I adjust from there, and that's when the creative side kicks in. I create a mood board, shot list. I try to create all the poses so they already know what kind of shots or poses that I'm going for. That's pretty much it. I want to just show up to the shoot ready to go and direct from there. So we have a clear vision, so there's no dead time, anything like that. We get everything we wanted out the way.
My style is bold. I like to provoke. My intention with my photography is for the viewer to think about what they're looking at and try to interpret what it feels to them. I've always went for bold color, edgy, anything that seems like it can be a little on the unsettling side and pleasant at the same time. I knew it was something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. It was the only thing I knew that I could do if I even wasn't being paid for it. Just seeing where photography can take you and where the camera can take you. I like how I've always been a fan of bringing people together and experimenting with the different things, and that side of it kind of made me want to fall into that path.
Full kit. Thank you. Sound check is a cumulative of three major things. The first thing, of course, is range of equipment that's necessary to ensure that things run smoothly. The second thing for sound check, I would absolutely include the quality of sound based off the room that you're in. And the third important section of sound check would absolutely be the comfortability of the musicians that are performing to ensure that they have everything that they need. Music in Charlotte is a huge pull of every genre, style, every form of expression. There's no way to box Charlotte into a style like we have in these other major music cities. I think it's essential to finally have showcases to give these musicians a front line in order for them to prove that Charlotte has all the talent in the world, and those things don't get recognized unless we get in the front lines and actually have a chance to perform, which makes stages like this so important.
So this is one of my first big murals, like one of the massive murals that I've ever done is this one. This is actually one of my most proudest moments too. Completing this mural was like a big accomplishment in my life. Being able to do something of this magnitude and in Charlotte is like everything to me, honestly. When I created this, I wanted to create something that represented someone going fast and someone driving and with full intention. If you ever driven a motorcycle, you know how hard it is to stay focused and to stay dedicated to what you're doing. You really can't have anything else in your mind but to really just lock in. I don't know about how other artists feel, but when someone gives you creative freedom, you get to create things like this. Things that truly mean something to you, things that really just resonate with your soul, and it just really lights you up. People don't really understand this, but when art is in communities, there's activation and there's things going on within that community that liven it up. I can't believe I did this. Every time I drive past it, I'm like, wow, I did that.
I don't think there's another collection of local artists of this magnitude any other time. About 130 different performances and installations over the 3 days, incorporating about 450 artists. Other fringe festivals, I think, really focus on sort of this edgy things that are really different. We want this to be the space where people that don't have other opportunities to produce their work, they can bring it here. I mean, it's artist run, so I think there's some things about that make it really special and some things that make it a little less polished. But there's some funness in the scrappiness of it, right? There's a lot of people working together. I think the artists mostly come in with that idea where they're like, I'm gonna work with you to make this work. I mean, so the whole idea of it is that we're creating space and that you bring whatever you do into this space, and we'll work with you to make that the coolest it can be.
That means we gotta get a lot out of these facial poses, these expressions, yep. Yeah, perfect. One more, hold that. I don't know, I think it's the interaction for me that really is the whole setup for it. It's not just showing up and being like, hi, I need you to pose, kind of building a relationship with the person, your model, and then having that energy pass back and forth.
I got my drive to do bold photography from always wanting to stand out. I never wanted to do or look just like everybody else's work. I didn't see a lot of people doing using wide angle or ultra wide shots for portraits, which was the reason why I wanted to do it for portraits. Just doing something that was not conventional was the whole reason driving by, just trying to do something that, for one, I'm not really even good at when I first started, but to work on and to perfect and make my own style from there. The scene in Charlotte right now is thriving when it comes to the arts. I'm seeing it grow every year and get stronger. It was very slow when I first arrived here in 2017, but the scene's fun now. So you have a lot of people coming here, a lot of opinions. To make it in Charlotte, you have to have confidence. You have to already have it planned that you can do this by yourself. That everyone else will join on whenever they feel comfortable with it. But if you're looking for someone else to give you a handout or assist you along the way, you'll have a tough time here in Charlotte. So being that one-man team or one female team here in Charlotte will get you a long way. And I promise you it'll come after. If we can attract more, I would say, vendors or designers and models, like if we could build a hub for it, I can see it turning into a New York. But until we get that kind of going, it'll just turn into a bigger city. Charlotte's starting to be collaborative. It's on its way of that. I feel like we're breaking out of a phase where everyone's starting to get to know who they're around or who their neighbors are here in Charlotte. So it's becoming a friendlier city than I saw it to be when I first arrived. Get the same vibe that you can literally do anything you want to do as long as you put the time and the focus into it. I did not start off as a great photographer or having all the knowledge of what I'm doing. It literally requires just a lot of dedication, focus, and intent. As long as you never stop doing the thing you love to do, you'll always get to the destination.
It's fusion jazz mixed with a bit of hip hop and R&B styles of music, if I were to put a genre on it. When it comes to explaining exactly how I sound when I play drums specifically, I'm more so given a feeling. There wasn't really a place for musicians like me. We got our time in the church to play during services and our private bookings when people were able to see us in those spaces or hear from word of mouth that we were well-versed musicians. And otherwise, you either had to create the space and close doors or you didn't get opportunities to be in the public eye. Being in Charlotte and being immediately engulfed in the music community, I was plunged into probably the largest scope of musicianship that I've ever seen in my life. And when I say that, I'm saying that the musicians I've surrounded myself with have skill sets that have been unmatched to private performance, large scale performance I've ever seen in my life. Charlotte's music culture is focused on now giving people access. It's focused on giving different ranges of music a spotlight. And that's inclusive of this new Afrobeat, Amapiano. It's going through the ranks now here in Charlotte. Beyond that, I describe it as very inclusive. The Charlotte music scene wasn't so inclusive before COVID. I think there were moments in which we had our hubs of musicianship and what we recognize as artistry being centered around jazz or being centered around pop or folk music. And now there's this more inclusive hike towards the music that's catering to fusion, catering to pop, catering to rock, hip hop, R&B. And that wasn't the case before. I think the first uphill battle when it comes to creating a music career in Charlotte comes with ease of access. It's the fact that we have 500, 600, 1,000, 5,000 person venues accessible here in the city, except the door that needs to, or the gatekeeper to give you the opportunity to play on those stages, either wants a lot of money up front, or they're going to validate you based off of your Instagram and social media following, or they're going to validate you based off of word of mouth that you can't really do without being a fresh face here in the city. So the first uphill battle, and the biggest reason why there's a struggle when it comes to artists and culture here, is because the ease of access isn't there. If you get past that first initial struggle of not getting access into venues or access to people, everything else comes with ease, as long as you deliver a good service, good business, and continue to keep your people skills at the forefront of how you involve yourself with people around the music community.
I really like to do a lot of different things with my art. I don't like sticking to the same thing, but I've been inspired by graffiti all my life. So a lot of my paintings, a lot of my designs have an art and graffiti style look to it that kind of makes it a little more distinct than your traditional type of art that you will see at a gallery or in other places, you know. I finally came home one day and was like, I'm done. I have to go after my dream, because if I don't do this now, I'm never gonna do it. And I'm gonna have such a regret that I don't know if I can live with that. I believe the art culture in Charlotte is pretty strong. It's definitely very strong, especially in this up and coming city where everything is so new and vibrant. The Charlotte art scene has grown tremendously. You know, there's some heavy hitters that started back in the day that have established themselves, and I look up to them, right? Like, I look up to those dudes. They deserve it, right? Even the ladies, you know, it's not just dudes, it's the ladies out here. They deserve it. They have established themselves. They've worked hard to be where they're at. And I think they have inspired people like me, you know, that I started about 4 or 5 years ago. They inspired people like me to like do what I'm doing now. I believe that the mural artists do have a strong place here in Charlotte. I do. And I'm also saying that with hope and with faith, because I'm a mural artist and I want to have kind of a strong impact in this environment. I think a lot of us do. You know, we want to continuously create. And I think the environment is allowing us to create, to build with the developments that are currently going on. I'm saying that with positivity, that I believe that we are valued, we are needed, and we're changing the landscape. We're definitely changing the landscape.
I think it like just indicated we were on the right track. That this was like a thing that Charlotte needed, that Charlotte didn't have. The seed that started Boom was a Fringe festival. Fringe is a festival that came out of sort of the same feeling of feeling like artists feeling like they were left out of what was being presented as this is what arts and culture is. You know, it was like there was some of us creating work at this sort of grassroots level, and there was sort of nothing in between, or not very much in between. The Uptown is a totally different place now than it was in 2012. There was not a lot happening that wasn't inside the high-rise buildings. And so we were like, this is not like a good representation. Like, how can we be a part of this? How can local artists have our voices in this space? I didn't know that Charlotte has some of the best poets in the country, that our slam team has won national poetry championships. I didn't know that devised theater work that was being created by the artists presenting it was happening in Charlotte, because all I was hearing about was Charlotte Ballet and what was happening at Blumenthal. And I think they didn't know that they were local dancers. They just knew about Charlotte Ballet. And so we started being in community together, and we're like, this is rich. There's something here that's valuable. And we want to figure out how do we continue this beyond this 2-week period. But art should be something that you can experience as part of life. It shouldn't just be something you have to like put on a nice outfit, pay for parking, go to a certain place. We are blown away by how many people came to this year's festival. I think it's because it's what Charlotte needs. There are some artists here doing some really interesting stuff. I mean, I saw it at Boom. Like, there is show-stopping, amazing, weird, risk-taking, challenging, beautiful, funny, thought-provoking work happening like every day in this city. And I'm so glad that I'm part of Boom because I get to see it.
Culture here in Charlotte exists because the relationships that are created are real.
Charlotte has a very chameleon, I would say, culture. It switches up. It can switch pace at any given moment.
I mean, I think I get to be a part of this like bubbling grassroots culture in a way that probably many people don't. And so being a part of that, I think it's vibrant and rich and exciting.
They call it the Buzz City for a reason. I think it's still in the early phases though, right? I think the culture is still being built, and we're getting there, right? Little by little, we're getting there.
I think it'll pop into something great. I think it'll set its style and culture for at least the next 20 years from what I believe the next wave to be. It's attracting a lot of new creatives and a lot of new brands. It's got a lot of eyes on the city. So the direction it's going in could be big. And it's not a big state, so it can only go but so big. But I think it'll be great.
Rapping for the Queen City. Charlotte's got it buzzing. Underestimated, but you know we up and coming. It's the Queen City, where we all come together, lift each other up until we shining like the weather. It's the Queen City. And if you didn't know, we all about the culture in the 704. It's the Queen City. We gon' hold it down. Everybody do it for the crown. Rapping for the Queen City. Rapping for the Queen City. Rapping for the